Sean, so I wanted to ask you about the changing face of the supply side in particular, and we hear this word supply side optimization. What does that mean to you, and how are you trying to push optimization on the supply side?
Yeah, well, I think that there's definitely a lot of different views on what that means, supply side optimization. I think the big thing is bringing visibility and transparency and consistency into how supply is managed between buyers and sellers. I think that as programmatic has evolved, there has been tremendous inconsistency in how supply is delivered. And so, the big opportunity there is to create more visibility for buyers and sellers so that they know, what's fair price. Ultimately, when we're trying to drive performance for clients, whether that's business outcomes or value, you need to really understand the full, you need to have complete visibility of the supply chain. Whether that's media buying or any other thing, any other business, having that complete visibility lets you become more intelligent and generate more business performance or drive more value.
So, how has the SSP kind of world evolved through consolidation, through innovation, and what are some attractive elements that you're seeing now?
Yeah, well, I think it's interesting. I think what's been attractive is that people are now starting to use the similar language, and the semantics are becoming aligned. There's still a lot of different terms being used and that are within how we actually go out and acquire inventory. So to deal with the shift towards more of a first price auction. A lot of the exchanges have introduced new tools like bid shading or bid factoring and that. And I think a lot of that initially presents just more challenge to streamlining an ecosystem. However, whether you think moving to a first price auction is good or bad, having a consistent way of operating enables us to actually scale partnerships and relationships. And I think that what's been great to see is that I think across the board the buyers are working with the supply side to make sure that when we're talking with our partners on the technology side, that we're having the same conversation, that the expectations that we have are consistent with everybody, and it's not just sort of making accommodations for one partner over another.
So, tell us about how the client's sort of approach or attitude towards programmatic has evolved, and sort of what their expectations are, and how you guys execute in terms of open bidding versus private marketplace. Give us a kind of a overview of the buy side.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what's been exciting to see is there's been tremendous growth in what has become available programmatically, right? And so if you go back, I don't know, maybe 4 years ago, predominantly it was still a display marketplace. And now it's expanded to basically anything that could be digitally activated is something that we could buy through a platform. So there's obviously a lot more interest from marketers to understand what's happening in the space. And so, one of the things that we've really focused on is educating our clients on, what terms like, SPO mean, how the ecosystem works. I think there's a tremendous misalignment with understanding the amount of work that goes into actually delivering programmatic. I think even though we're using algorithms and a lot of technology, there is still needs the human side of it to ensure that the machine's working to the best of its capability. So we've been spending a lot of time on that, educating, making sure that our clients have that visibility into what their investments lead to. So that's been a big push for us as well. I don't know if there's any other
So
area.
what's next, would you say? We hear a lot about privacy,
Oh,
about
yeah.
the California regulations
Right.
coming on, the impact of GDPR, of course, and innovation. So kind of,
Hmm.
what do you see as sort of the road ahead in terms of opportunities and challenges, and
Yeah.
what are you hoping to solve?
Absolutely. I think the privacy laws that are coming out, I think, are going to create a tremendous amount of scrutiny on the data that you're actually using for targeting or for measurement. And so I think that's where there's going to be a lot of, if you want to look at it like SPO, primarily when we talk about it, has to do with, inventory, tech tax, factors like that. But really, I think the next piece that we're going to be in is really looking at the data that you're using and making sure that it's actually ethically sourced, that there's the right amount of validation that's happening. Today, when you go and you look at the data that's being used on a lot of campaigns, there's a lot of relicensing and similar things that are happening on the inventory side are happening on the data side. So I think we very much see a world where being able to trust the data that you're using and know that it's, again, like ethically sourced and that it could be used as a validator of an audience is going to be a pretty big point. And I know you mentioned, you're asking before about open versus private and PMP, and I think we very much see those things sort of operating together for some time to come. And really what it comes down to is particular brands, verticals they're in, and understanding what you need to access, and then what are you able to actually build that is more custom for clients. So sometimes that involves using programmatic guaranteed or building more bespoke PMPs. But there's also still, because there's been a lot of standardization with how the exchanges work from an auction standpoint, because there's been a lot of attention paid to brand safety and fraud. The open exchange is not as bad a place as it's been, but it plays a certain role. But we very much see those things operating together for clients to drive performance.
And finally, the role of Cadreon within the IPG family. Just tell us a little bit about the work that you're doing and where you sit in the agency holding company.
Absolutely, I think our primary role is to bring creative, data-driven solutions that have a tremendous amount of addressability for IPG clients, and so we work really hand in hand in an integrated fashion with agencies like and Initiative to make sure that the clients that they're working with have the experts on their business to actually get the right amount of performance and value out of their digital investments. And so it's been very exciting. We don't just do that, as I mentioned before, whereas display was the primary source. I think we've seen tremendous growth in areas like addressable TV or advanced TV, and certainly emerging channels as well. Areas like audio or out of home are becoming more digitally enabled, more data-driven, and so from an innovation standpoint, we focus a lot on that with the agencies to make sure that they're, again, bringing really modern marketing solutions to their clients.